Welcome to Isn't It Obvious, where things are obvious. That's going to be the intro.
Alright, so this cold open is going to be frigid, right?
Frigid cold.
I mean,
like my heart.
Right. I mean, it's your topic,
If it
so.
existed.
You are the ice queen.
It is my topic. I am not the ice queen. I am the ice lizard. Anyway, welcome to Isn't It Obvious? Thank you, Micah and Phil. So I've given up on intros. If you're here, you should know. Special COVID edition. We're doing this remotely in our microphones. Who knows if that's going to turn out. My topic today, isn't it obvious that kids should go through some kind of survival training, mandatory?
To what extent?
Like learn basic survival skills out in the wilderness of their state.
Right, but to what extent? They have to survive a weekend with this training, or?
Did you guys ever have to like do portage, like go up
deep
north
portage.
and like spend deep portage and spend like a week or whatever up there and kind of learn stuff like how to start a fire, where to camp if you end up getting stranded in the wilderness for a week. I think every kid should have to do something like that.
But is that merely based on their upbringing? That survival training in Arizona will be different than that survival training in Maine, will be different than that survival training in Alaska. So it's stately dependent?
Honestly, I'm not sure how I would have to like implement that whole thing, but I mean, yes, I think like early years, it should definitely be state. Like, so like in elementary school, there would be like, you know, go to your like, local campgrounds or something, and you spend a week, you know, learning how to tie knots and start a fire and how to like make sure everyone knows how to make a shelter or something like that. Just basic skills.
For what is your
in case, you know, like we have a pandemic and, you know, shit happens and all of a sudden there's no systems in place and you're basically in the middle of nowhere with no running water, no.
So you want training for entire societal collapse? Yes,
but also just, you know, to go out and appreciate nature too would be, you know, nice.
I feel those are two different tangents.
No, they can two birds, one stone. That's how I feel about that.
It's like it starts off as a nature walk, but it ends up for like the zombie apocalypse.
Yes, exactly.
You sell it like nature walk.
Learning edible plants, for example, would be super useful. Like
edible
maybe not necessarily useful, but just knowing those things could be useful. You know,
plants
like plants, like stuff that if you ate you would die, or stuff that if you ate you could maybe live another day. Or stuff that if you use the sap, it's like an adhesive or something like that, you know, like stuff like that you could use and it would be useful in the event that you were stuck. It's not even just a total societal collapse. Some people like who go running or walking in the woods or in a canyon or somewhere out in a park somewhere, they get lost or stranded or they break a bone and they're stuck and they can't move. Like there was a gal out in, I don't know, it was like Arizona or California or somewhere. And she was a runner and she ended up twisting her ankle or breaking her ankle and or maybe it was her hips. I don't know. No, it was probably her leg or something. And she ended up being stranded out there for like 2 days. And at that point in time, like during this, like in the desert, it's really hot during the days, but it's like freezing cold at night. So it was like, it was getting down to like 30 below. And so she couldn't move or do anything, but she knew like she had to keep moving to keep her body warm. Otherwise she would have frozen to death. Like, just, like, things like knowing that could keep you alive. This should be mandatory, like, knowledge for kids to learn.
Okay.
If you get lost in the woods, don't wander around. How to build a signal fire. How not to make a fire that'll burn down an entire forest, but might still lead people to find you.
I feel like this is a great way to have summer classes, right?
That too. All year
round school, but this is actually the...
paid for by the government.
Paid for by, like, you know, because let's just face it.
2 weeks off. Repeat.
No, none of that, Micah.
Let's just assume that there's money to do this because no one wants to actually spend time with their kids in, like, daycare or, like...
Also, money's a fiction. Recent events have totally made that clear, that money is an absolute fiction.
Right.
We just say what it is, and it's
actually,
fine.
my argument here is, like, a lot of people that I know are working from home, and I know that I'm not going to get any empathy here, but you can hear the kids in the background, running around screaming.
I have all of the empathy. Phil. I called my cousin the other day and hear my godchild screaming in the background. I'm like, oh, man, glad that's not me.
These are meetings where you really are trying to get a point across, and there's someone screaming I love poop. It's like, look, this is just not appropriate, but you just have to deal with it. And so I'm I bet those parents at that time would really wish that there was a summer, magical camp place to go, and you can just say, look, hang out with your peers, we can still do things on the weekends and have a great time during dinner, but I really want you to socialize and have a wonderful time outside this house because you're driving everyone crazy type of feeling.
Consider how much money that would save in just average average parents in nannying or childcare costs in general, just by having basically a mandatory summer camp. Here you go out in the wilderness, and
I personally think that
survive for a week.
My children would benefit from such a plan like that. But okay,
and so would the parents. So
let's just assume that is happening, and it happens in the summer, and the money would have already been spent on someone's paycheck anyway, or winter.
I would say it would have to be 4 times a year. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay,
in every
it starts off
season.
Younger would be the easy course, okay, how do you survive during wonderful summer conditions, and then it just ramps up.
How tie knots. Right. Here are the plants that are safe. Here are the plants that are not safe. Here's what poison ivy looks like. Can you just could you imagine how many people don't do you even know what poison ivy looks like?
No, I don't.
See? You would die.
No. He wouldn't die. He
would just be itchy.
Definitely use the worst natural toilet paper in the world.
Yep. Okay, he would choose the wrong.
It's big and wide and has razor edges. It gets into all the crevices. Why does my butt itch so much?
More than usual. No, my thought here is
play it safe. Leaves of 3, leave it be.
My thought here is that I would sign up for that. In the summer, it could be fun, and as they're growing up, they could learn more and more strenuous skills, how to survive a blizzard sort of thing. And then towards the end, it's kind of if all society collapses, grab your potatoes, and this is what you're gonna have to do.
Yeah, well, how to start, how to grow fucking potato crops, how to do that. Do you know how to do that, or would you have to go look at a YouTube video right now?
Right, the whole.
But are you putting this in a situation where we don't have access to a YouTube style education format?
Yeah.
Right. I would.
Yeah.
Are you saying so it's a giant EMP and we don't have modern technology to go with the vast array of human knowledge that is available to us at our fingertips?
Yep.
I mean, maybe you're just unlucky and you were on a camping trip or something with someone else and you got lost, or something there was a landslide and you're somewhere that no one could get to for, say, 3 days. How are you going to survive? Even just something small like that.
Also, basic hut.
I mean, you don't have to worry about potatoes then, but
you clearly squeeze natural water out of recently dropped elephant dung, because that's what Bear Grylls has taught me.
Drink your urine first. Drink your urine first? Obviously, isn't that obvious?
I mean, and then it's halfway yoga, so you're getting exercise at the same time you're getting hydration.
This is a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
I think that...
It just goes up your nose the wrong way.
But I don't know, it's useful to know, what plants might be useful for what, things.
But,
how, can I make rope out of this? Can I use this vine to, or is it, hold my weight? Is it gonna be useful for making a shelter?
How to make a shelter? How to make
a
kiln?
What woods burn best? Knowing what wood burns best is going to save you a whole lot of time trying to figure out how to light a fire. If you need one.
How to start a fire with just nothing. How to find materials for flint.
You don't have matches. You don't have a lighter. Right. What are you going to do?
This reminds me of the Scouts program, basically, right? But that's basic. That's more
also for women too.
Yeah,
also for girls.
The Scouts.
There were Girl and Boy Scouts, and now I think it's unifying to Scout.
It is. Yeah, now it is, but back then it really wasn't.
Right.
You learned how to sew, and don't get me wrong, some of that stuff is useful to know. I think home ec is definitely a class everyone should take as well. Right. Just saying.
No, I absolutely
know how to cook. Know why you need to cook certain things certain ways, and how to sew.
But that's not how that education happens. At least my home ec experience was not like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't the why we do it. This is just how you do this specific thing. And I don't even remember what
Did you learn how to I was going to say, did you learn how to use a sewing machine?
I mean, I made a pillow that I used throughout my high school career.
Do you think if I put a sewing machine in front of you, you could maybe do something with it?
Yeah.
I mean, not without YouTube, right?
I absolutely could.
Okay.
It
wouldn't
be good, but like I could definitely make some giant cargo pants. I could make Jncos.
You could in theory patch a piece of clothing.
Yeah.
If someone put a sewing machine in front of you with thread and your pant and maybe a patch, you could sew that and fix it. Yeah. See, it was kind of useful.
No, because I got that from my 9 years working with embroidery. I have a different education.
That's true. Look, yeah, but that wasn't then from your high school. Then that was from your actual work experience. This is why I don't think a simple one quarter, like 3 months of your entire life. I don't think that's actually not even 3 months. 2 months? Yeah, I barely remember half the stuff I did in home ec. Like, I can sew because I have a sewing machine and I've, done stuff. Like, and I only learned how to do it because I wanted to do cosplay for, a convention, but because I'm a nerd.
But when you were forced to learn it, you don't remember anything of it. But when you wanted to
remembered
learn it, you remembered it from home ec to go into cosplay?
Yep.
Okay.
My thought of those classes were not that you were going to actually learn much of it or still remember after many years, but more like, hey, if you're interested in this, just so you know, like, there are more resources after this point. It's like a springboard. And for those that really...
Well, I mean, I didn't experience that type of... There was no going from making a pillow to another home ec class to learn the more intricacies.
No. It's more like, hey, this whole genre of things exists. And after this point, like, it's up to you, young squire, to figure out the rest, right? Like, and that's because some people are so ignorant, like I am, that these things even existed until someone makes an awesome Pikachu crocheted thing, and I'm like, holy shit, what is this? And it's like, oh, it's this thing you can do with these things that like can make awesome stuff. And I'm like, how does it even work? And they're like, oh, we'll just loop this and that. I'm like, magic. Okay, gotcha. And
well, we never learned crochet in home ec. I'll just say that was never offered as a class.
Like, these are things that would be, like, I don't know. Like, I can understand why the home ec has to pare it down to like the most basic essentials, right? Like how to sew, how to cook.
There's only so much time.
Like how to budget, but like, when you when you mentioned like, look, like a quarter just isn't enough to actually like impact somebody.
Yeah, and a quarter once in your life. Not even like revisiting.
It's not 3 months every year. It's just 3 months at a time.
That's it ever.
One time. Yeah. And honestly, if we did your system of 2 months on, 2 months off, like you could rotate like different classes.
Yeah, and then you have different levels.
Easily. I don't know.
Yeah, because my 2 months off, 2 weeks off is a great plan. Right, 2 months on, 2 weeks off is a great plan.
I don't know, but
debate me on it.
My thought here is that
I'm right here.
We've already done that.
At this point, the best benefit you can have is just exposure, which for the listeners, Sarah just waved a really very friendly.
One finger salute just for Micah.
She said I was number one, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, number one on my shit list. Anyway.
Well, that's where I sit and spin, Sarah.
Yeah. Okay. Up to you if you want to spin.
Oh, no. But what's the point in not spinning, really, given that opportunity?
I don't know.
Okay, so
You're there. Might as well have a ride.
Even? What is this even?
I have to ask though, Sarah, like, let's say that like my dream of having summer classes being like fun stuff for the kids to do that's funded by the state.
We think it's fun.
Well,
most of those kids will be like, F this.
Well, yeah, fair enough, but I think it's fun.
I think it's fun. I like
what do kids know anyway? No, like, I think that they're going to like it after they realize that this was fun.
Yeah, they'd appreciate, I would hope they would appreciate like some of that knowledge.
So, but if they couldn't run the summer program, of which I would prefer them to do, then what program would you cancel in lieu of having survival classes?
Sports.
Instead of summer, like during
the regular like calendar school year, like you would have to remove something in order to add
calculus.
This. You motherfucker.
PE. just get rid of, or make it part of PE.
An alternative.
Because like half of the stuff you do in gym class is not really useful. Like, it's literally just to get your energy out, right? If you took that and like made it more like skill learning based, because like, I'm sorry, I can only play kickball like so many times before I'm like, okay, I've learned this game.
Kickball. Kickball's amazing.
Fuck kickball.
I'm kidding. It's garbage.
I liked badminton though. That was fun.
That's also garbage.
I love badminton. Get off my lawn.
Micah, what sport isn't garbage that you learned in high school? Like, you learned at the K through 12?
None of them. They're all garbage.
I like sports.
They're all garbage. They really are all garbage. Nothing is accomplished from a sport apart from physical activity. That's all.
I just want to add this.
You're right there. There is really the only skill you learn is maybe how to run or like how to hit. Like, you learn maybe hand-eye coordination for certain sports, like racket sports, but that's about it. Like, there's really no skills. So yes, I would probably gut half of that PE and take that time.
Dance can fuck off for the sake of.
You guys had dance?
I never had dance.
Oh my god, that would be terrible, Micah. That would be so sad.
Oh my god, and it was kind of the best thing because
we had line dance, but it wasn't a class. It was an extracurricular.
Oh no,
like after school thing.
For like the last week or 2 weeks of PE every semester, we would have
you
dance.
mean like way back in elementary? We had, like,
this was high school.
Square dancing.
No, this was high school.
No.
Yeah, small towns, they fucking suck.
That's terrible.
Survival training. That would have been way more useful.
Yeah, especially in a small town.
And it would have been more fun, and it would have been more useful.
Absolutely.
Fuck dance. That should be like an elective. No, that's not true. Dancing's probably fun for people who enjoy that.
Hey, but then they can just find each other.
Here's what I learned.
But they can do that electively.
Right.
They'll learn that if they want to.
I absolutely learned Stomp 2 Times.
Oh no,
that's all.
That's a real.
Yep.
That's what you had to. That's not dance. That's just poor man's DDR.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that anymore. It was god awful, and my school system growing up was fuck off bad.
Isn't it obvious that we should improve the basic core tenets of what the school system should do, and
we are
then
20
add survivalism?
Episode, Phil, don't you dare derail it by bringing another IIO into it.
It's just. My thought is, I think...
How to start a fire, man. How to start a fire properly with no matches, no lighter.
I think
how to tie a goddamn knot. And not just your, like, over-underhand pretzel knot. None of that. No. Like, different knot. We might skip the noose. That probably doesn't...
That's an incredibly efficient knot.
It is, but I don't think it needs to be taught in high school. Or any time, really, unless you...
Well, then, at what point do we just introduce Japanese knot tying for the carnal pleasures?
That's extra. That's above and beyond, man. That's like cosplay, all right?
Is that the
We're not teaching how to do
club?
cosplay in high school.
The problem is that we're talking about survivalism, and that seems more like a luxury. Like, that seems not necessarily in the theme.
Hey, one man's survival is another man's luxury, all right? I have a bathtub full of cream of mushroom soup for my own devices.
All right, well, my other thought is I don't think you would want to really have lots of kids learning how to start.
Like, right now, I'm actually thinking about, like, what I'd want to make with cream of mushroom soup right now. Like, that's sorry, I went off on a tangent there in my head. I think I'd add hamburger and noodles. Yep, that's it.
Oh, that's my plan. I also have a cream of...
Poor man's stroganoff.
Yeah, that's
I have
good.
cream of chicken, and I do have sour cream and some nice beef and some nice bow tie noodles. That is what I'm going to make tomorrow.
Sounds good.
That sounds really good.
God, I wish we weren't in quarantine. Anyway.
I can stop by.
Sorry, what were you saying, Phil? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I'm trying to think of this thing I'd use with mushroom soup for, but I don't remember what it is because I rarely cook. So I think the editor is screaming like, it's this, you make this with that. I'm like, oh, I don't remember.
She's like shaking her fist from upstairs right now. Right. I can just sense it in her sleep.
Oh, would this be the potential recording room?
This room? Yeah. Yes, this is. Let me give you the tour. There is that table that folds into a fairly longer table, and I was going to grab the chairs from upstairs and put them over here, and the Yeti mic is going to be right. And then it'll be
for all our
viewers / listeners.
It will be
mothers.
Recording.
And I was gonna have like snacks and popcorn and things to munch on.
No, nothing crunchy though.
So everyone can hear
in between recordings.
Or else Oh God, can we get the side gig of like ASMR stuff?
No, absolutely
God
not.
damn it, no.
There's little 5-minute supplementals that are in ASMR. That's for like the $10 over.
It'll not be
Patreons.
branded with IO. It will not be. It will just be its own side gig project from.
Listeners, today
no.
we have toffee.
It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't work unless you're speaking into your mic directly.
Well, let me test this. So is this better?
Almost. A little, but not much.
It's almost in my mouth.
Get it out. It actually was in his mouth. Okay. Well.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you sanitize that.
You don't need to.
No, who else is gonna fucking use it but me?
You know what? You're right. It's disgusting to use someone else's headphones.
Oh God.
And Mike.
That's wrong.
Disgusting.
Any case, yeah, this would have been the room for the latest studio for IIO, and that would have been nice.
Thank you, patrons, for subscribing to get this glorious, glorious content. Well, I'm sorry.
I'm not. I'm never sorry. I have no bones in my body that understand the word sorry.
Calm down, Trump.
I said
lizard.
I was like, lizards have bones, don't they?
They do. I just have no sorry bones.
They're all efficient.
I have plenty of regular bones. Yeah. I was never blessed with sorry bones. I don't even know what this is anymore.
So back to the point. Mike Pence would make a better president than Trump, correct?
What?
He'd be less embarrassing, but I think he's way more insidious. No, survivalism. The point is, we need to learn how to tie knots and start fires so we can be accomplished pyromaniacs and get away with it.
That's where I was going to go with. Like, do you really actually want your populace to be learning these skills, though? Because I don't know if I want to have snare classes or how to, like, skin a rabbit. Like, these are kind of things...
I think that would be super useful. Like, if someone put a fish in front of me right now, I mean, like, I could probably generally figure it out because I'm not afraid to try things, but I guarantee you, like, I know people who'd be like, I don't know what to do with this fish.
What if it was a cat?
Actually, I wouldn't say I've skinned a cat, but I have dissected a cat, so like, I feel like
would you be able to? And like, because like a fish is a very abnormal thing to think about. It's very inhuman, and not a lot of people have positive emotions with
butchering a mammal or something like a pet.
But like, if you had a cat in front of you and it was your survival, could you gut that cat?
Absolutely. Don't make me.
Because that's the thing. Like, when it comes to American,
you know what?
like human survivalism, not American. That was a different topic in my brain.
I will say yes, I could do it, but it would be absolutely last resort. Like,
right, but survival.
That's what I'm saying. It would be absolutely last resort.
So, are you saying you would want to put school-aged kids through that type of survival where they have to gut an animal because that is their only mean of sustenance? Are you wanting to go to that extent in this education?
Honestly, I think it would be useful to learn how to clean a fish, and I would probably make them clean a rabbit.
What if they're in Arizona, where fishing is not a viable food source?
Then what's the game out there?
You got hares, you have jackals, you have small game.
How to skin a hare.
Yeah, this is not really what I think most people want their mischievous people to know how to do, right? Like, this is... Because you know that maybe 9 out of 10 students would be like, oh, well, I learned how to do this thing. And maybe some of them already, of course, know how to do that just from hunting, right? How to, like...
I think hunting would be a super valuable thing to learn how to do.
But,
I don't think everyone... Like, honestly, I don't like hunting, but I would have liked the opportunity to learn how to do it.
Actually, that's not a bad thing. Like, I think hunting would have been a pretty good survivalism. Like, if you actually had a syllabus for survivalism, which would include fishing,
how to set a snares, fish,
hunting,
how to tie your own line.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these things.
So are you also going through how to field dress a deer?
Why not?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you might not have to do it, like, yourself, but, like, say you have one class where you learn how, like, you go out, someone hunts a deer, and then you, like, have a deer carcass, and you learn how to, dress it.
Right. I think that
hang it up, let the blood drain. Like, learn how to do that.
Yeah, I actually
know how to do that.
That's probably not a bad thing. I just don't think people want their kids to learn what I would consider to be pretty good survival stuff, because you know that some kids are just going to fuck it up for everyone else. There's a certain point where you want the kids to be ignorant enough so that they don't do any, like, terrible damage to others. I want people, when they go to, like, the supermarket and buy a cow or a pig, to understand, like, what happened to that animal when they eat it.
Why not just genetically advance the cows that they offer their portions to you from themselves?
Why don't we just print them, like food printers? Get food printers that would just...
Oh, maybe we shouldn't have animal consumption at all in our diet, and because we have technology, we can synthesize things that require us not to massacre animals.
You guys are thinking
it would be basically the same exact atoms and molecules.
I mean, that flies in the face of your survivalist argument, but...
Well, we don't have that yet, so survivalist argument.
Yes, we do. Impossible Burgers.
Yeah.
Really? That's not technically beef. No, but they're not technically beef either.
No, they are I'm talking about plant-based that can give you the same nutritional value of beef.
Yes, but I'm talking about food printing. It's not even synthesized beef. It's actual beef. It's just using those molecules. Like, you're basically assembling from the molecular level actual beef without slaughtering an animal.
So if that becomes our norm,
isn't the same.
But if that becomes our norm, what is the relevance of survivalism?
You'd have to learn how to make a 3D printer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit more complicated when you have one arm trapped under a rock in a crevasse in Utah.
Well,
yeah. Well, I don't think there would be that. If we were at that point, I don't think there would be.
I think you need it even more. Like, I think that there's going to be a point where
we would be dead.
127 hours would be a way different movie. Just arm is locked in there, be like, flip open backpack, start assembling a 3D printer with one hand.
You just carry a 3D printer like parts with you at all times. Just for. Can you imagine like what it would be like to like live in that society and never have actually consumed another living thing? Like, you've just had synthesized. I mean, it would still be those molecules, but you would never have actually killed a vegetable.
Killed a vegetable?
Yeah, like your carrots wouldn't be carrots from the ground. They'd be carrots 3D printed. Your apples would be apples that were 3D printed in a printer. They would be like perfect little copies of each other every time. Can you imagine never having to actually pluck or pick or dig up or actually kill anything? Just eat whatever your printer shoots out.
I'm an American in the 21st century, and I never have to actually do any of that stuff, regardless what the source is.
It wouldn't be much of a stretch, but that's what I'm saying is, like, I don't think people, when they go to the store and they pick up a thing of ground beef, they really think about, oh yeah, that was a living creature that I'm eating, or I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna make a burger out of it. And like, they are delicious and I will continue to eat them. I think they're awesome. But like, I don't fool myself into thinking that I'm not killing something to, continue my existence.
But that's
nature. Really crazy way to think of this. It's like some Lovecraftian.
Like I could choose differently. I could choose to be a vegetarian or a vegan and not consume meat, but I like meat. And I don't really, it's not that I don't care about the animal that I'm consuming, because I do, and I appreciate that it exists for my consumption and all that, and I'm grateful. But I also wouldn't stop eating them because they have to die.
I agree, and I feel that every middle school child should have to kill a chicken, pluck it, and make all the bits you can. I would totally support that.
Or a pig, or a cow, or something.
I mean,
like, it
start
doesn't
small,
have to just be a chicken.
Chicken's everywhere.
Or a rabbit, yeah.
I mean, have you had rabbit? It's easier. Not that good.
Turkey?
It really is not that good.
Well, it probably isn't.
No, it's real chewy and not satisfying.
There's not a lot of fat, right?
No, it's very lean.
No,
it's very lean. No, I actually, I will agree with all of you. Like, I think it's not a bad idea to have that connection to, wow, you really have to kill something to eat, and this is how you would do it, and this is what other people are doing.
At least then you, as a kid, you can make an informed decision. Yeah. I'm going to continue to eat meat, but I recognize what I'm doing when I do it. I'm not sitting here in my ignorance, murdering animals. You know.
Yeah, I had a mental image of like a middle school where it was like the second level of this survivalism, where it's like, all right, we're gonna slaughter a cow this year, and like just some 13-year-old comes up with a sledgehammer to try and kill the cow, and like fails a whole bunch, and they're just hitting a cow in the head with a sledgehammer.
And that class is forever traumatized. Yeah. I don't think that's not how that.
Oh, no, it is not. But I went on the tangent of like, because killing a chicken
Absurdity.
seems pretty easy. Because a chicken is small, and you just decapitate it, and there's a bit of blood flow, and then you have just the carcass.
But it's not difficult.
But like a cow, a cow is an ordeal.
Yeah, it's a big animal.
An accurately placed sledgehammer could kill it, maybe, or you need to find some way to like sever the spinal cord.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that this class would probably be a bad idea now.
Peter would hate this class.
Well, that and like
it could potentially be traumatizing.
Although, if we had proper child psychologists in schools, maybe it'd be fine.
The other thing too is like what you're really teaching this child to do is not just like be exposed to like, wow, this thing is from like for me to live, something must die daily, right? Like
no, for now anyway.
But
yeah,
like for this whole conversation makes me kind of wonder. It's like, wait,
but then you brought up carrots. Are carrots dying for us to consume them?
Yeah, technically they are.
Are they?
And that's why I don't.
What about apples?
Yeah.
What about things that like are meant to be transferred so that the seed can get into a different area to be then grown another tree from?
Like,
right?
Animals are different than crops.
They are.
But you saying that like we can synthesize carrots was equal to us synthesizing beef.
Well, wait, the argument...
But I mean, you could do that without ever having to grow them ourselves, without ever having to pick them or dig them up.
But do they not provide sustenance to the biome that they grow in? That we merely exploit for our benefit more so, but still benefits the biome that they exist in.
Let's take, for example, if we go off into the stars, into another planet where they don't have our biologically like our needs to survive. We could synthesize food, for our consumption and our continued longevity without having to affect the current biome of whatever planet or place we're occupying.
But why would we not want to try and harness that biome for our own benefit if we're the only ones benefiting from that biome?
Poisonous? What if it's poisonous? What if we can't?
Then we would want to change it.
Consume it.
We would want to terramorph that planet.
Why?
Because then it's beneficial for us.
No,
so we can exploit more of their resources.
You're destroying an entire biome that isn't our own.
Yeah, what does it matter?
Would we fucking change
we can change it to benefit ourselves.
Because it's not ours.
But it is, because no other intelligent species is on that planet.
That we know of.
I
don't know. I don't like it. Even so, I would argue to keep the biology of that planet.
That's very altruistic of you, but that is not the necessity.
It's not altruistic. It's just don't fuck with other shit. Just
Next time,
let it do its own thing.
On Isn't It Obvious?
Isn't it obvious? We shouldn't play God, and we shouldn't assume that we're the best, and our system is gonna. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Isn't it obvious? We should play God because we don't have any other reason showing that we are not God because we can manipulate environments.
But then we destroy what's there.
Phil, what's your IIO of a topic that we'll never discuss in the future?
You're the worst.
I just want to say thanks, Mom, for continuing to support us during this pandemic.
Nice dodge
your continuous support helps us enjoy these wonderful conversations we have in complete and utter isolation. So thank you, Mom. And for all our other listeners and Patreon supporters, we also appreciate you as well. And we are sorry.
I don't have sorry moms. I told you already.
But I'm going to be guessing that there's only like 1 or 2 listeners. So for those 1 or 2 listeners, hi.
It's me and Sera right now.
Yeah. We really...
Well,
and the editor,
you know what? Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom, for being there, listening to us.
Thanks, Mom.
And
appreciate you.
Love you.
All the time.
Bye,
forever.
Mom.
And
bye.
Out.